Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Commodity TV out of our studio here in Herisau in Switzerland. And it's my honor and pleasure now, to get an update from Farhad Abasov. He's the CEO of Millennial Lithium. And you remember the company, a lithium developer who wants to go in production as fast as possible. First they start with the pilot plant, and now we come to the project finance. And we want to hear from Farhad everything about it. Welcome, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. Hope you too.
Very good, thank you.
We have spoken a lot of times, I think, at Commodity TV, of course. Maybe before we jump into your fantastic project, what is the lithium market today? Because prices went quite heavily down, right?
Yes. The price has gone down, as you know, since, 2018. But we think it's coming to the point where it's going to probably bottom out. I mean, again, it's difficult to pinpoint exactly when, but we think there are several factors that should stabilize the price and hopefully push it upwards a little bit later this year. One thing is that it's come down to the point where it's almost at the same level as the marginal cost of production of some of the hard rock producers. That is
especially
critical.
Australia, I think,
especially
right?
in Australia / China, I would say, because conversion takes place in China. And they're a substantial producer. I mean, when you take them as a group, we're talking about 40–45% of world supply of lithium. So I think that their marginal cost of production will be a floor price. In the next few months, we'll actually see it. A couple of other factors, obviously, are important. That's now on the demand side, and we're talking about a real number, a large number, I should say, of real EV models hitting the market in the next few months. I'm talking 2020 and going forward. We've already seen, large car makers, coming out with EQs. Mercedes with EQ, e-tron by Audi, and so forth. So they're all moving in that direction. I mean, they've already made those announcements in the past, but this year we're actually going to see those models. So that's when the real demand is going to take off.
Yes, that means now it comes to the construction of the batteries, and now they are needed, right?
Exactly.
And to do a battery, we need, of course, cobalt, nickel, but lithium we need also. And this is your playground and your field, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
So let's come to your fantastic project. You are in Argentina. What does it look like these days? We had some elections also. And then let's maybe dive into your, fantastic project with the numbers, with the pre-feasibility you did and all that stuff.
Feasibility.
Feasibility, yes.
So look, Johan, I mean, first of all, yes, we did have elections in Argentina, both in Buenos Aires at the federal level of the government and in provinces. We are in Salta province. It's one of the, I would say, one of the most mining-friendly jurisdictions in Argentina. And the various governments, successive governments, have been very supportive of mining projects, specifically of our project. And even at the federal level, the new president has been making announcements and giving speeches, whereas he considers mining to be one of the pillars of the economy, of the Argentinian economy going forward. So this is all good. Now, we've achieved quite a few milestones last year since we had the conversation last. And one of them is obviously the completion of the feasibility study with very robust economics. The other one is I would say the second thing is actually filing our environmental impact assessment report, and that was filed with the government last year, and we expect approval of it sometime in this quarter. That's very important. That will basically pave the path to the full mining permits so that we can actually start construction. And the third thing is we secured what we call fiscal stability program, which is basically an agreement with the government of Argentina to fix all our fiscal obligations as of the time of the application. And that is very important because then we're not susceptible to all kinds of potential volatility in the country on the economic
and I think this decreased also the tax rate on the one hand,
yes,
and on the other hand, this is not removable by the next government,
right?
Exactly.
So it is kind of enshrined by this in this agreement, all our tax rates, royalty rates, and so forth. But you're absolutely right. Our feasibility study took into consideration 30% tax rate, but in this agreement we have 25%. So it should have obviously a positive impact on the economics of the project.
Fantastic. So how is it going with the pilot plant? I think you must be now in the final stage of the construction. When do you start to produce the first ton of lithium carbonate?
So it's already completed actually. So we need to commission it. So we already built obviously the building itself, and all the equipment, all the pieces of equipment are there, all the electrical, cables, everything basically almost connected and almost ready to go. So we'll be commissioning, and we'll plan to commission shortly. And then after that, probably in the next few months, we'll hopefully get the the first batch or the first samples, and of course we'll talk about that at that point. But so that's the plan. So it's been going quite well, and everything has been on track.
So that means with the pilot plant, you are also further reducing the risk, because to my understanding, to do a pilot plant means to show the market, hey guys, we can make a battery product.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that. But also in parallel, we're also basically advancing the financing for this project, because obviously you want to be in a position to get going with construction right away as soon as the permit is in place. As soon as
it takes time also. Huh?
Exactly. So I think last time we mentioned that we did engage Credit Suisse about 12 months ago. So they have the mandate to help us with construction funding, and we've been working on in different directions. One, of course, to make sure that we can fund this from different sources. We're talking to PE funds, sovereign wealth funds, development banks, of course, quite well advanced conversations.
Maybe also car makers, battery makers, they must have an interest, right?
We're also talking to a number of potential off-takers, including car makers, and some industrial groups and some trading houses out of both Europe, Asia, and of course North America. And there's a tremendous interest. And on top of it, we also have a number of strategic groups that are not in lithium space that are quite keen now to get into lithium space, and they're doing their DD on the company. So we think that it's going to be a combination of strategic investor, industrial player, the development banks, and then the large financial investors would come in, and we'll put together full financing package for the project.
And that would be the game plan, let's say, for the next 6 months. Is that something we can say, we can talk about until, let's call it summer?
Middle of the year, exactly. So our plan is to get the permit and everything within the first quarter, and get a strategic cornerstone investor in the next few months as well, maybe weeks. And then, of course, by the middle of the year, finish full financing package so that we can start building our solar evaporation ponds.
Fantastic.
And then that will obviously build everything else after that.
Yeah, okay, super. So as a development company, let's put it that way, financing is always key to the, let's say, fulfillment of the success. So how much money is in the bank? Because this is what I saw in the past of, let's say, some mining companies, gold mining, whatever. They had a super project, but all of a sudden they ran out of money, and then they were in deep problems, I would call it.
Then they're stranded.
Exactly. And then you can be pressurized. Stranded, I think, is like a whale on the shore, right?
There you go.
And so that is not good. So what does it look like on your cash balance sheet on the one hand, and also do you have supporting shareholders?
Yeah, Johan, that is critical. I think that really sets us apart from a lot of our peers. I'm talking about lithium development companies, because we have raised quite a bit of capital in the past, but we've been very frugal and very effective with that cash. Although we've spent almost $47 million Canadian dollars in the ground, we still have $23 million in the bank. And that is very important, because our cash burn now is dramatically down, obviously, because we finished most of these programs. So this cash will keep us going for quite a few years. Obviously, the plan is not to just sit on that cash. The plan is to get construction funding this year.
Get it moving.
Absolutely, but it is important to have that cash, because at the negotiating table, it strengthens your hand, be it negotiating for financing, or strategic investment, or M&A, or whatever it could be. So it's very important for us to preserve that cash and really strategically deploy it where necessary. And we're very fortunate to have very strong shareholders, and first of all, we ourselves are large shareholders, meaning management and the board. We own over 10% of the stock, and then we have a large, already strategic investor out of China. It's a solar power company. They own 17%. Very strong supporter as well. They've invested in the company twice. In other words, they maintain their stake in the company. And we also have a lot of other shareholders, smaller shareholders, not less than 10%. But again, they've been holding stock for quite a while. Exactly.
Super. Perfect. Now we see in the media, very often we see that like lithium production companies are a little bit, in the bad corner, I would call it. You use too much water. You need a lot of diesel to power your pumps and stuff like this, meaning you are not environmental friendly, you are not ESG conform. But I think with you guys, it's completely different, because I saw on your website beautiful solar panels photos. That means you get solar power, right?
Absolutely. Look, from day one, we wanted to keep this as green, as environmentally friendly as possible. We are going to fuel tomorrow's future, so to speak, and we are providing basically fuel to this new e-mobility trend. But at the same time, we want our project itself to be as environmentally benign as possible. So first thing that we could do, although we didn't have to do that, but we decided, look, instead of trying to power our current operations with diesel generators or with anything else for that matter, why don't we just use solar power plant? And that's what we did. It was a fantastic idea. At the time, people thought that, this is not going to work very well, but it's been working extremely well in the last 12 months since we built it. That's one component. So we have now a solar power plant. It's powering all our needs, meeting all our power requirements for current operations. And then the other thing is like the structure or the processing that we are going to employ, the methodology that we're going to use here, is very environmentally friendly. In other words, the environmental impact is minimal. We're not going to use a lot of water here. We're not moving earth. We're just drilling into the brine and pumping it out.
Also, no chemicals, right?
Exactly. We're not injecting anything into the ground, so it's very important. Solar evaporation process itself is pretty benign. Obviously, you're not really doing anything special there. With just water evaporates, you remove salt and potash. We don't have a lot of the byproducts or waste products that are very detrimental to environment. We have two major kind of waste products or byproducts are potash and salt. Salt will go back on salt plains. We are operating in salt plains, and potash is obviously a sellable product, so it has value added. So
this can be reused in agriculture, of course, as a fertilizer. Of course,
as a fertilizer, yes. So we'll sell in the market as well.
So we can say you are more like on the green side.
Absolutely, yeah. That is our intent, and both internally, otherwise, we're really complying with highest standards. And another very important thing that I want to say, this part of ESG, we have very good relations with the local community, and all our employees are from Argentina. And that's another very conscious decision on our part.
Yeah, because you're on, what's 3,600 meters elevation?
We're pretty high up there, yes, 3,600 meters.
No smoking.
Yes, exactly, yeah, absolutely. No drinking, no smoking up there. 3,600 meters. So it is considered a high altitude or high elevation. So as I always say, not a great place for living, but very good place for
working. Super. Yes. Perfect. Well, then we keep fingers crossed. And of course, you have some news flow now from here up to summer, I would say. Yeah. And please keep us updated. And we see us latest at PDAC, so 4 or 5 weeks. And then hope we can do a nice update interview with already some results.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Farhad. Fantastic. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was Farhad Abasov, the CEO of Millennial Lithium. This is Argentina's next, real lithium producer. And you heard it. The company is in perfect shape, $23 million in the bank, so they cannot be pressed or can be, let's say, put under pressure from any banks or whatever. And they can really do, their work, what they need to do within the next months. Is the pilot plant is ready for takeoff. They are just commissioning it. That's exactly what we want to see. And because with the pilot plant, it will be a proof of concept that their technology is working. That is very important for an off-taker, maybe also for M&A, whatever, for a strategic investor. So I have the feeling a lot of good things are going on here, and Farhad will keep us updated. So I suggest that you check out the company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.